Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to one of our keynote speeches coming from the Managing Director CEO that will be taking a look at the Nddc, the journey so far and the road ahead. This man is described as being passionate, focused, self-motivated political scientist, described as a leader and a capable hand. I'd like to welcome here the MDC of Nddc, Chief Sam Ogbuku, PhD.
The Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta Development, the Permanent Secretary, distinguished senators and House of Reps members here present, the Chairman of the Governing Board of the Nddc, Executive Directors, members of the Governing Board, former MDs and former chairmen who came here to honor us, I welcome you specially. Directors and staff of the Nddc, ladies and gentlemen. The Nddc was created by an act of parliament in the year 2000. This year makes Nddc 24 years old. And a lot of persons have different impressions about Nddc. Not until you come into Nddc, you will not understand what many persons have sacrificed to sustain Nddc to where it is today. I want to congratulate the former administrators of Nddc in the persons of former MDs and former chairmen for sustaining this vision of the government of Nigeria, which I consider a palliative to the people of the Niger Delta to mitigate the development gap in the Niger Delta. Some persons over the years have called for the cancellation of Nddc without knowing what Nddc has achieved in the past. But just to start, first thing we'll ask ourselves, what did the people of the Niger Delta agitate for? The people of the Niger Delta agitated for water, good hospitals, roads, and access to good transportation. And most of these persons who were agitating as at then, they were not agitating for the improvement of urban life. They were agitating for the improvement of the rural communities. So Nddc started as at then, focusing on the rural communities by taking development to the rural communities in order to also reduce urban migration. Nddc built lots of jetties, concrete roads in our communities, schools. Nddc even embarked on free medical health care. Nddc built hospitals. If you look at the projects Nddc have completed in the past 24 years, you'll be amazed at the record we have in Nddc. Yes, a lot of persons expected Nddc to build third mainland bridge in the Niger Delta. Of course, we deserve it in the Niger Delta. Some persons will argue a lot of money have been sunk in Nddc and nothing has been done. I can assure you a lot has been done. I challenge you You go to most of the rural communities in the Niger Delta today, the only government presence you see in these communities is only Nddc project. That is to say, that is the only way the government has reached these people. But some of these projects were never commissioned. Most of these projects, Nddc did not make noise about them. Nddc did not tell its story, thereby allowing strangers to be telling the stories of Nddc. Those strangers who told the story of Nddc, they actually contaminated and adulterated these stories, painting it the way they want. Most times we don't also forget the political interests too. When these stories are told, sometimes it's because some persons are interested in the position. So they always want to cast aspersion on Nddc. The board should go so that they should come in. The political interests amongst us in the Niger Delta have also helped in not telling the right stories by people contaminating and adulterating these stories for selfish reasons. But if I just want to give you a little record, I can tell you that in the past 24 years, Nddc in terms of infrastructure, I'm not talking about training, because there are a lot of trainings Nddc have embarked on which you cannot really substantiate. The medical outreach Nddc have embarked on, you cannot really substantiate it. But I bet you that Nddc medical outreach in the Niger Delta has been the most successful to give health services to many persons in the rural areas. But the question is, how much is it? These are soft developments that you cannot really feel. So because you cannot really quantify them, you assume that Nddc has done nothing. In terms of scholarship, postgraduate scholarship, Nddc have given postgraduate scholarship to over 2,300 Niger Delta indigents in the past 24 years. So for that, how much does it cost? If you evaluate it, you will also appreciate the Nddc. I can assure you the Nddc postgraduate scholarship scheme is the most successful scholarship scheme in the Niger Delta. Even state governments also depend on our postgraduate scheme. You come to project infrastructures. In the past 24 years, Nddc have completed about 7,483 projects. Out of these completed projects, 3,357 are roads and bridges, while 611 are renewable energy projects. 3,427 projects are still ongoing. And if you look at this record, you also agree that nobody will tag Nddc to be a failure. Nddc is not a failed story. The records are there. But however, having carried out projects in our rural communities to mitigate the immediate economical and developmental challenges in our communities by providing potable water, which was actually one of the major things our people agitated for, roads, hospital, because those who were agitating were not people who lived in the urban areas. They were those who were living in the rural communities, those who were feeling the direct impact of crude oil exploration. Hence, you needed to also attack development at that point first. And in attacking development at that point, Nddc did all this for the communities to also feel the impact of governance. Having said that, today the world is also changing. The world is revolving. Yes, more is expected of Nddc. The people of the Niger Delta, most of our rural communities are now urban cities. Today, here in Ekpene, the development here can be compared to that of Uyo. You have a situation whereby communities are now competing with the state capitals. In Bayelsa State, Amasoma is competing with Yenagua. So the state capitals are also extending to rural communities. Hence, more is expected. Today, the people of the Niger Delta expect Nddc to link communities with bridges, to build 50-kilometer roads, because since the urban areas are also fast expanding, we cannot also continue with 1-kilometer roads that will serve a particular location. So now we need to connect communities. And in connecting these communities, Nddc have done quite a few too. One of the landmark projects Nddc have also completed was the partnership between Nddc and SPDC in completing the Ogbuku'S Road, which is about 27 kilometers long with about 9 bridges all on swamp. That is also a very, very big success story of the Nddc. That project is yet to be commissioned. Recently, we had a discussion with the Honorable Minister, and the Honorable Minister have charged us to put the motion in place for the commissioning of that project. So, Nddc recently have also completed another 18-kilometer road in Abia State, which will also be commissioning. Nddc completed a 600 meters bridge in Oron here in Akwa Ibom State. Nddc had a very big bridge in Tororua in Bayelsa State. There are bridges that Nddc have completed and long roads. So these funds are not just wasted. Yes, I also agree that in this process, mistakes must have been made. Some of these mistakes that have been made are mistakes that were not deliberately committed. Persons in the Niger Delta that were also given responsibilities to carry out some of these projects, some of them never had the capacity, so some did not complete these projects. Hence, we have uncompleted and abandoned projects here and there. The whole idea was not to make the people of the Niger Delta to be spectators to development. The whole idea was to also empower the people of the Niger Delta by involving them in the developmental process. But hence, some of them disappointed, but we're not going to dwell on that disappointment. Some of these processes were also administrative mistakes, which we must also accept. That is why, on assumption of office, I felt it is not time for us to look backward, it was time for us to look forward. Then we came up with the policy of rewind to rebirth, because it is said that if you miss your way going forward, sometimes you go back to where you started so that you can actually navigate your way through. So we came up with the policy of rewind to rebirth. And rewinding to rebirth, that is why today you see that we have in our presence here former MDs and former chairmen, because we have a lot to learn from them. Mistakes they have made, they wouldn't want us to make such mistakes. We cannot claim to know it all. It is left for us to learn from their mistakes and also improve on their successes. And that is why we have to apply the rewind to rebirth. And having applied the rewind to rebirth, we decided to also come up with a term called the triple T. The triple T means transiting from transaction to transformation. Foundations have been built for the Nddc. We are now transiting from transaction to transformation. And in transiting from transaction to transformation, meaning anything we're doing must be sustainable. When it is transactional, there are no foundations to make it sustainable. It is because you just want to help the person. This person is my brother, let me help him. You're helping your brother. What is your brother giving back to society? Are you helping your brother to become a liability back to society or to be an asset to society? Based on that, we came up with the transiting from transaction to transformation. Transforming our development, transforming the individuals in the Niger Delta. In development, we have to ensure that we put the right frame for even our procurement process to ensure that any job that is given will also see the completion. I will come back to that. But for the individuals, just like as I said, NDDC has spent so much in terms of human development, training, skill acquisitions, and the rest of them. But today, I can assure you that we virtually have a data for how many youths NDDC have trained, how many youths NDDC have impacted on. So sometimes it becomes a vicious circle and a merry-go-round where you find yourself training the same set of youths. And some persons in the villages who probably this in training will impact on more, they don't have access to it. Because not everybody here in Uyo can be in Port Harcourt. Not everybody in Bayelsa can be in Port Harcourt. Not everybody in Benin can come to Port Harcourt. Hence, you find out a situation whereby just some few set of youths that have access to the head office of NDDC benefit from NDDC. That brought us to part of the sustainable approach of introducing the Project Hope. The Project Hope means holistic opportunity for programs and engagement. Now, trying to bring all programs and engagement under one platform. We are looking at ways of engaging our youths. So first thing first, Project Hope is registering youths in the Niger Delta online for us to have a database of the youths in the Niger Delta. Because without data, you cannot plan. But if we have the right data, we know how to plan for the future of our youths in the Niger Delta. That registration is going on. Right now, we have enumerators in the various local governments, also registering youths in the various local governments, those youths who probably do not have access to internet, because we don't want to leave anybody by the side. So Project Hope is also going to look for opportunities for youths in the Niger Delta. Opportunities in the areas of IT, today tech seems to be the in thing in the world. We're also looking at opportunities not just for white-collar jobs, because government alone cannot employ everybody. We are looking for opportunities in tech. We are trying to ensure that we build a set of youths who are good in tech that can develop software and other expertise in the tech business, which we can also outsource to other parts of the world, where people can sit in their houses and also work in different international companies. Once you train these youths, they will never come back to you to look for a job. They can take care of themselves. We just want to equip them. That is part of the sustainability. We want to jettison the era of where people bring training programs to us in NDDC without telling us how those trainings are going to impact on us. Because in the past, people bring training to us where the vendors only make money, and at the end of the day, the youths are back on the streets. We don't want the kind of training where you give people starter pack and they go back and sell them. So in order to avoid that, we're also ensuring that one of the advantages of Project Hope is that for any training we want to do, these youths are going to be picked from the database. Picking them from the database gives opportunity to the man that lives in Oron, because he has been able to register with us. So we can also meet him on the areas of his competence. If it is welding, we want to train welders. We know we are training people who have passion for welding. And because they have passion for welding, whatever opportunity you give to them, they are going to utilize it. We are not expecting 100% success, but for us, we believe even 60% success is okay for us. We'll build for that, because in the past, we have lesser than 50% success. We want to grow from that. We can even benefit more than that. So those are part of the advantages of the Project Hope scheme, which we are trying to do now as board and management. And I know that even the board, even our board meeting yesterday, it was something that was very, very passionate to every board member, that we are looking at how to fine-tune it to serve the people of our region better. Then, in order to ensure that this platform is sustainable, to take us out of transaction completely, because NDDC over the years, A lot of people just assume NDDC is a ground for transaction. Yes, I agree with you, because one thing was missing. The difference between NDDC and NCDMB, the difference between NDDC and NMPC, the thing that is missing, why people think there's political interference, why people think it is a transactional ground, was because there was no corporate governance structure. In identifying that, NDDC have procured the service of KPMG to design a corporate governance structure for NDDC, which is going to be in operational very soon. KPMG is also here. Right now, they are one of our partners. KPMG is an international reputed firm that will also guide us in our corporate governance. Once that is put in place, we believe anybody that comes to NDDC, you know that we're in for serious business. We are doing this to also regulate ourselves internally and also to secure the investment of anybody that wants to come and invest with us. NDDC have also decided to go into partnership, PPP. But nobody wants to partner with you if they don't see good corporate governance structure that you have, because they want to be sure of your compliance system. That is why we're putting down all this framework. And in terms of sustainability, yes, we also talk about engaging entrepreneurs in the Niger Delta as also transiting from transaction to transformation. We have to transform our entrepreneurs. We cannot leave them behind. So we have created a structure to bring together entrepreneurs in the Niger Delta, and not just wasting money to say we want to support people with 10 million naira for agriculture, 10 million naira for whatever. We have created a structure that creates about sustainability. The structure we have created is the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is going to be a hub that will bring together entrepreneurs in the Niger Delta, where if we want to engage entrepreneurs, we engage with the Chamber of Commerce. Let them populate the list of what number of entrepreneurs who want to engage. With that, we know that if it is something of sharing risk, the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce will share the risk with us. Meaning whoever you engage in is someone that has a verified business that has been identified by the Chamber of Commerce. Because you cannot be a member of Chamber of Commerce if you don't have a verified business that is working. So we want to tie this to the Chamber of Commerce. All these we are doing to ensure that we create sustainability so that every 1 naira we invest is also bringing out the right results and not just wastage. If there has been wastage before, there is not going to be any wastage anymore. We are trying to block every hole of wastage and to ensure that we create sustainability. Now, the next thing I want to I talked about the infrastructural development. On infrastructural development, I just want to break it down into 2 for us to see. You know, in the past, all these projects that I called that NDDC was able to complete, most of them were done during the pre-TSA. You understand with me that TSA is a very, very good policy. It brings about accountability and transparency by ensuring that government agencies are accountable and there is transparency. Yes, government agencies in the past abused the opportunity of, having accounts with commercial banks. It was abused, I agree. But in NDDC, in the pre-TSA era, NDDC achieved a lot because there was flexibility for NDDC to partner with banks. There was flexibility for even contractors to even get APGs. You'll agree with me that right now, under the TSA, we lack that flexibility. And if you check, from 2015 till date, that was when the ushering of emergency contracts started in NDDC. Because it is very, very difficult under the Procurement Act for you to publish contracts to award without you having the cash backing. It is very, very difficult because it is even against the act for you to publish projects, haven't getting your budget approved, that you want to award projects. The question is, do you have the money? And when you don't have that money and you do it, meaning you're telling the contractors to go and start working for them, for you to pay them later. That brought about a lot of abandoned projects in NDDC within this period, and that brought about NDDC owing a lot of contractors, which has made NDDC to be highly indebted. Now, I'm only just using this opportunity to call on the government and plead with the government to look at the case of NDDC. NDDC is expecting a 2024 budget. The IOCs do not pay to NDDC in bulk, they pay quarterly. NDDC is funded by the federal government statutory allocation, ecological fund. All these monies do not come in bulk. And if you don't have this money in bulk, the alternative is maybe NDDC do not spend it, save it, gather all these monies in bulk, and at the end of the year, you'd advertise for award of contracts. But it is not possible. That means you must have lost that budgetary year. It is not possible. Development do not wait for anybody. For us to develop the Niger Delta, we must be radical about it. We shouldn't just be passionate, but we should be radical. The Niger Delta is very, very peculiar. Just like one of the speakers said, that it has the highest wetland in Nigeria. I want you to understand that in the Niger Delta, for a 4-year term of an NDDC board, you have only 20 months of dry season to work. Because in the Niger Delta, we enjoy only 5 months of dry season. So 5 times 4 is 20 months. Meaning it is even below 2 years to work, because you cannot be working in the swamp under the rainy season. You will not have the time to work. So for us to achieve this, if the government can review the stance of NDDC under the TSA by taking the NDDC out of TSA so that the NDDC can have flexibility. NDDC is self-funded. With the self-funding monies expected from the IOCs, with the self-funding monies expected from the statutory allocation, NDDC can actually tie some of these funds to specific projects using financial institutions to develop the Niger Delta aggressively. I think this is possible. That is the future of the Niger Delta. But under this situation, the board and management of the NDDC is expected to sign a performance bond with the Honorable Minister tomorrow. Honorable Minister, sir, I wonder if we are signing a performance bond, you have so many expectations from us too. How do we meet up these expectations? When these monies come in trickles, people only aggregate what comes to NDDC at the end of the year, but you cannot just use this money at the end of the year. These monies are being spent. If money is idle, so long as it comes in trickles, that is when political interest also comes to that money. But if the money has been mortgaged in terms of even tied to specific projects, I think even the political influence on NDDC will reduce. So, Honorable Minister, sir, we are begging you, as your subject, to also take our voice to Mr. President, that this is the dilemma we have. In the past, the former MDs under the TSA era that have seen not to have done much, this is the dilemma. If they never spoke, we have looked at it, we have x-rayed it. We have looked at both pre and present, and we have seen that this is where we have problems. NDDC should operate like state governments. Most of the state governments that have been compared to NDDC, sir, most of these state governments, they get these projects by getting banks to fund them because they have expectations annually. But in NDDC, we cannot use our statutory allocation to plan to go into getting people to get APGs to fund projects because you don't have it in bulk in your account. So we are pleading that while we are going into signing a performance bond, these are the issues we should also look at. Evaluate us from these areas so that at the end of the day, let all of us succeed together. Let us make Mr. President proud because the present board and management are determined to make Mr. President proud. We know how passionate Mr. President is about the issues of the Niger Delta, and we are determined to make him proud. We have a crop of young men, experienced technocrats in this board, starting from the chairman of the board. He's very, very passionate. He has been a very, very cooperating chairman. Board members are committed to ensure that the mandate given to us to serve the people of the Niger Delta, we don't fail the Niger Delta and the people of Mr. President. We are committed to the renewed hope agenda and to ensure that we become a trophy to Mr. President at the end of his first 4 years. We are committed, but also we are begging you to look at the challenges we have as a commission. We can all sit down together, work it out to ensure that the people of the Niger Delta are proud of NDDC. The people of the Niger Delta are proud of the ministry supervising NDDC. The people of the Niger Delta are proud of the legislators today that are oversighting NDDC. The people of the Niger Delta are proud of the staff of NDDC, and the people of the Niger Delta, let them be proud of the achievements we are going to make. Thank you very much.
We appreciate the MD CEO of NDDC, and we say, can we give him another round of applause and appreciate him? Thank you very much. While he was about rounding up, Her Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, distinguished Senator Dr. Ikot walked in. Your Excellency, we welcome you. You're welcome. Thank you very much.